What's going on, everyone? My name's Joe Ivan, and we are live on 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Thank you all for tuning into the Weekly Cheese, the Pocono's #1 place for everything Green Bay Packer. Just as a reminder, everything you hear on the Weekly Cheese is my opinion, and nothing you hear reflects the views or opinions of 90.3 WESS or East Stroudsburg University. Now let's get into it.
Once a Packer, always a Packer. Like Shakur, call me Tupac. I'm green and yellow.
Green Bay, it gets scary. Halloween day, scream face, Bloody Mary, secondary, Jordan, mean face, A-Rod got 'em all side, free play, That's a cheesecake, on a hot plate, Hail Mary, yeah, Aaron to Devontae. Green boogers, yellow as canaries, Eliante, got me shining great, I just hit you boys with the Rodgers rate. Came up with the pack, I done well with the pack. Aaron Rodgers in the trap, I got 12 on my back. Got me rolling out the pocket, by Tiara blocking. Throw it past the tie-in, simple math and science. Pack 'em up, I know Preston Smith gon' tackle him. I know Darius Smith gon' back 'em up. And you know Darnell is savage, bro. Got Mason Crowds, but the kick is good. Green and yellow, we sticking to it. Super Bowl goals, shooting for the stars, baby, trigger pull. Bah! You know what it be. Cheese said Alicia Keys, I'm going Swiss cheese, big G's. Ballin' hard like Big Meech, big league. Super Bowl champ, bigger rings, big bling. Lombardi trophy, yeah, Vince team. Shining like a Bart star, number 15 in green. Bomb fresher than some mint green, Listerine. About to mess around in history, trippery. Green Bay chains, whistle clean, it's a scene. Like Paul Hunting, I got 5 on it, yeah, yeah. Touchdown, glasses on, Lambo leaving the front row. I'm screaming 9 and 2, and that's for life. That's for Reverend Reggie White, rest in paradise. Coach Carter, boy, I'm feeling like Matt tonight. I feel like number 55, you're getting sacked tonight. Yeah, boy, we about to be a type of hype. And whoever play the Packers, hope you packing light. You flying back tonight, taxing light. Yeah, all my Packers ready. Green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow. Yeah, call me Packer Valley. Ooh, you try to count us out, check your mathematics. Yeah, what color that confetti? Green and yellow, call me Packavelli. You know what it be. I'm a cheese head, Alicia Keys, I'm going Swiss cheese, big G's. Ballin' hard like Big Meech, big league. Super Bowl champs, big rings, big bling. Lombardi trophy, yeah, Vince team. Shining like a bar star, number 15 in green. Born fresher than some mint green, Listerine. I done mess around in history, Packavelli.
Once a Packer, always a Packer. Like Shakur, call me Tupac. I'm green and yellow.
I'm green and yellow. I'm green and yellow. I'm green and yellow. I'm green and yellow.
And we are back. It's the Weekly Cheese, 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. I am your host, Joe Ivan. And what you just heard there was hot off the presses, brand spanking new Lil Wayne. After 10 long years without a Lil Wayne Packer song, he gave us a new and refreshed rendition of Green and Yellow. And man, does it hit. It is a banger of a song. Could not have came out at a better time. 10 years ago, when the Packers were going on their Super Bowl run in 2010, Lil Wayne came out with the original version of Green and Yellow, and that carried the Packers fan base, and I believe some of the Packers, I'm sure, just gave momentum. It added to the momentum. It added to the wave that is the Green Bay Packers right now. And man, I'm happy. I'm happy to have it. I'm happy to play for you guys. And it's just been way too long without a Lil Wayne Green and Yellow Packers song. But it's here in perfect timing for another Super Bowl run. The NFC divisional round is over, and the Packers are moving on to the NFC Championship game for the second year in a row. 5th time in Rodgers' career. First time's going to be at Lambeau. The Packers beat the Rams 32-18. I don't know if you remember last week. My prediction was 31-17. Pretty close. And the Packers advanced to the NFC Championship game. Things are feeling good over here. I'm sure everyone's having a good week out there. Kind of hard not to have a good week when the Green Bay Packers are moving on in the playoffs. And the Packers put on an absolute show on Saturday afternoon. They displayed true championship football on both sides of the ball. They played like champions. They took care of business like they were expected to, and they checked every single box off the to-do list that I presented right here on the Weekly Cheese last week. I ran down exactly what the Green Bay Packers need to do in order to secure victory in the divisional round against this very talented Rams team. And they checked off every box. They won the battle up front and protected Aaron Rodgers, not only with the stellar pass protection, but also by establishing the run. On defense, they were able to swarm the ball, get off the field early, and force punts early in the game. They forced 2 punts to start the game. And it really aided them in jumping out to the early lead that they never let go of. They withstood the mid-game lull, both offensively and defensively. The inevitable mid-game lull. The offense stalls for a slight second, and it's up to the defense to continue to take care of business. They had some long drives, the Rams. They were able to get in the end zone, but the Packers were able to withstand that mid-game lull. And in the most crucial of moments, when the Packers needed it most, their secondary offensive weapons were able to make big plays, not only to just keep drives alive, but to put points on the board. It really was just an amazing all-around game besides the one special team snafu. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers cannot go a game without one minor special team snafu. This time, Mason Crosby got banged up a little bit. Luckily, it was his upper body, none of his golden legs there, but nonetheless, special team snafus need to stop, especially this upcoming week in the NFC Championship game. Cannot afford to lose on a special team snafu. Not again. But yeah, the Packers won the battle up front. They protected Aaron Rodgers. And coming into the game, there was just a huge question on how Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers' number 1 overall offense would fare against the Rams and their stacked number 1 ranked defense. The Rams defense had only given up 24 points 2 times all season long, and they've consistently made even the league's premier offenses like Seattle, like Arizona earlier in the year, they made these offenses struggle and stall and look bad. But at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers just were too much for the Los Angeles Rams, especially on the frozen tundra. Wasn't as cold as everyone wanted it to be, but it was too cold for the Rams, obviously. Aaron Rodgers finished the day 23 for 36, 296 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also contributing a rushing touchdown in what really was one of the coolest plays of his entire career. It was only a 1-yard rushing touchdown, but he scrambled out the pocket. He extended the play. He kept looking for a guy to throw to in the end zone. He pump faked to Mercedes Lewis, completely embarrassed Leonard Floyd, made Leonard Floyd the laughingstock of the internet with that pump fake. And he snuck into the end zone right by the pylon, and it was awesome. He put on the wheels, and it was just a cool play, a play that brought me back to the game against the Bears in 2010 in the playoffs where he dove at the pylon, and back when Aaron Rodgers was having all these crazy rushing touchdowns. That's his 4th of the season. He's pulling them out. And really, Aaron Rodgers' composure and his ability to read opposing defenses and just how the game just seems to be going in slow motion for him. And yeah, it's the same for other great quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes. They all seem to have an extreme control over what's going on the field. But Aaron Rodgers is just different. Watching him is just different. And this was just put on display everywhere, on every drive on Saturday, but most notably on that 2nd and 17 play when they were backed up in their own end zone early in the second half. 2nd and 17, they're on their own 8-yard line. Aaron's in a shotgun, takes that snap. He extends the play, but just with subtle moves in the pocket, he hangs in there, and it seemed as if the pocket was just crashing down around him. And Aaron Rodgers just ropes an 18-yard dime right to Allen Lazard. They converted the first down. They extended the drive. They didn't end up getting points on that drive, but they shed time off the clock. And it was just a perfect example of how Aaron Rodgers just is in a league of his own. The pocket, I couldn't believe it when he made that pass. It was spectacular. It was as good of a play possibly imaginable. And he played exactly how Aaron Rodgers always plays, which is obviously better than anyone else could play football. But the reason he was able to play so well on Saturday, and the reason he had so much time in that pocket, and he was able to extend these plays and sit there comfortably in that pocket, no matter how much pressure there seemed to be, was due to the amazing production he received from the offensive line. All week long, leading up to the game against the Rams, there was discussions regarding the Packers' offensive line and how they were going to be able to handle Aaron Donald, the future Hall of Famer, and the Rams' amazing defensive front without all-pro left tackle David Bakhtiari. How were they going to handle this Rams defensive front that made the Seattle Seahawks offensive line look like a JV high school team just 1 week prior? How are they going to do it without Bakhtiari? But man, did they handle them. The Packers' offensive line dominated for all 4 quarters. They did not give up 1 sack all game long, and they only allowed 1 quarterback hit. The lineup of Billy Turner at left tackle, Elton Jenkins at left guard, Corey Linsley at center, Lucas Patrick at right guard, and Rick Wagner at right tackle came ready to play, and they completely neutralized the Rams' pass rush, which ranks 2nd overall in the league for the regular season. And they seemed to be firing on all cylinders against the Seattle Seahawks. And they generated massive holes for the running back. Not only did they play pass protection perfectly, they were able to generate massive holes for all of the running backs on the Green Bay Packers. Elton Jenkins had the game of his career against Aaron Donald in his first matchup against the feared nose tackle. He pancaked him numerous times in the first half, pushed him to the ground, and just frustrated him. He had Aaron Donald obviously frazzled. He committed that personal foul after Elton Jenkins finished the play and held his block out. He was holding on to his shoulder pads, and Aaron Donald grabbed him by the face mask, wrenched his neck, and he picked up the personal foul on what was the crucial 3rd down stop for that Rams defense. Extended the drive for the Packers, led to some points. And it was just crazy to see. Elton Jenkins bullied him. And I honestly do not want to hear one thing about Aaron Donald's rib injury being the reason why the Packers' offensive line looks so good against the Rams. I don't want to hear one thing about it. If you were watching the pregame leading up to it, you would have seen Jay Glazer standing there on the Fox pregame with the military-grade Kevlar extension that he was holding on a pair of shoulder pads to illustrate what Aaron Donald was wearing to protect the ribs. And according to Jay Glazer, not only was Aaron Donald feeling great before the game, that Kevlar attached to his shoulder pads was going to be the answer. And it most certainly was not. Aaron Donald was frustrated. He had a bad moment. Obviously, he's not known for doing that. He's not a dirty player whatsoever. He just had a bad moment. And it was because Elton Jenkins brought the heat. I really don't want to hear a thing about it. This offensive line has been playing great all season long, with the exception of a few games here and there, the Panthers game and that game against the Buccaneers in Week 6. But for the most part, this offensive line has played fantastic all season long, and they're going to continue to play fantastic over the next 2 games. David Bakhtiari might not be there in person, but he is there in spirit, and you know he's getting into the ears of all these offensive linemen. Elton Jenkins has stepped up tremendously as a leader. Billy Turner is playing very well at left tackle. And, of course, as I highlighted last week, Jared Valdir is always there just in case something hits the fan. But all in all, this Packers offensive line came to play. They were phenomenal on Saturday, and they will continue to be phenomenal for the remainder of the season for the next 2 games. Another way the Packers were able to keep Aaron Rodgers off the ground and his jersey clean was by establishing the run early. They established the run early, and they kept it going throughout the entirety of the game. The Packers finished the game with 188 total rushing yards, which is just phenomenal. And for the first time all season long, the Green Bay Packers gave all 3 running backs on the roster significant looks, and all 3 of them were able to contribute in one way or another. Aaron Jones led the way. He had 14 carries, 99 yards, and a touchdown. He broke out that massive 60-yard carry on the very first play of the second half, which was just a huge play, and it set the tone for the remainder of the game. Totally deflated that Rams defense, who was really looking to get a stop on that first possession at a half. And it also was just the 3rd run all season long of 20 or more yards given up by this Rams defense. Aaron Jones had a monster run. He was just bouncing off tackles all day. And he truly is as dynamic of a running back that there is in the NFL. There's not one running back that I could think of that is more dynamic than Aaron Jones. The guy does everything. Every time he steps onto that football field, he continues to just build more and more of a case for himself as to why he deserves a big contract this offseason. And with each time he breaks a tackle and extends a 2-yard run for a 5-yard run, and every time he has a huge run, that's his 4th or 5th run of 60 yards this season. I wish more and more that the Packers do the right thing and give him the money. Who knows what will happen? But us Packer fans, we need to cherish Aaron Jones while we can, because the future is very blurry and no one knows what's going to go on. But man, was he a beast on Saturday. Jamal Williams, 13 carries, 65 yards, averaged over 5 yards per carry, and he just does a great job at filling his role week in and week out. He is the true short yardage back. It is well documented how hard Jamal Williams runs. He runs as hard as humanly imaginable. And on Saturday, he was able to use that just aggression and power to convert three 3rd downs and extend drives that ultimately led to some points. Does a great job at filling his role. Another guy, his contract's up at the end of the year. We have to cherish these backs while we still have them. They've been mainstays for the past 4 years, and got to cherish it. And A.J. Dillon, he came in and he was really featured only in the Bronco package where he lined up with Aaron Jones side by side. Him on one side, Aaron Jones on the other side of Aaron Rodgers. He was only seen in the Bronco package. He finished with 9 carries, 27 yards. He did end up getting hurt late in that game. He didn't have a stellar performance in the stat sheet, but those carries he had, he ran hard. He contributed. He had a nice 11-yard run. And he did fumble. On the play he got injured, he did end up fumbling. Luckily, the ball bounced right into Aaron Rodgers' hands. He was able to scramble and actually gain 2-3 yards on the play. Disaster was avoided by the Green Bay Packers. And luckily, Aaron Rodgers is just so damn good, he was able to make something out of nothing there. But A.J. Dillon did end up getting hurt. There's nothing that's been released regarding his status for Sunday's game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's a chance it could have just been a Charlie horse. Maybe he got kneed real hard or something. But nonetheless, all 3 running backs were able to contribute on Saturday, which is a first all season long. There hasn't been a game really where all 3 have been healthy except early in the season when A.J. Dillon was just getting acclimated. And really, the Packers just had a monstrous game on the ground. The run game not only extended drives and wore the Rams down physically, but it obviously broke them down mentally. It opened up the passing game and really allowed for that play action to get going late in the game. And obviously, a lot of eyes were on the Devontae Adams versus Jalen Ramsey matchup, the all-pro receiver corner matchup that was put on Saturday. And things did get a little heated between the two of them before the game. Devontae went up to him and apparently said something along the lines of, like, hey, bring it. Let's see. And he said he's not like these other guys, which he truly is not. And to no surprise, Davante Adams did win the matchup. He finished the game with 9 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown. And although it wasn't his most dominant performance of the season, and especially in terms of yardage, his yards did not pop off the stat sheet, Davante caused problems for the Rams all day long. And he clearly won the matchup against Ramsey. Ramsey was frustrated after Davante's touchdown. Davante went in motion twice, ran down the line, ran back, and immediately the ball was snapped, and Ramsey just couldn't keep up with him. But like I said last week, the Packers were going to need one, if not all, of their secondary weapons to come up and make big plays for them against this Rams secondary that is loaded, deep, and experienced. And in that this game was going to serve as a good opportunity for these secondary playmakers to rewrite the narrative surrounding themselves, that they're not good enough to get this team over the hump. Again, this whole offseason, Packers were tabbed as an 8-8 team. The 13-3 from 19 was totally chalked up to as a fluke, and the Packers were going to stink this year due to the fact that they have no one other than Davante Adams to throw the ball to. But on Saturday, against the Los Angeles Rams, every single one of the Green Bay Packers' secondary weapons made big plays. Big plays in crucial moments. Allen Lazard finished the game with 4 catches, 96 yards, and the game-clinching touchdown, the old Larrivee dagger. He did have a big drop early on in the game, which probably would have led to, if not a huge gain, a touchdown. But he didn't let that get in his head. He converted a couple of crucial first downs, like that 2nd and 17 backed up in the end zone, like I noted before. And he blocked his ass off in the running game like he always does. Allen Lazard has made a name for himself in the offense. His primary role is his amazing run blocking on the edge. And due to his relentless blocking, it allowed him to break free for that 58-yard touchdown late in the game. Aaron seemed to signal over to him an audible, tell him to just go. Aaron drop back, play action pass, hit Lazard deep, 58-yard touchdown. Aaron actually smiled before the ball even got snapped. He knew, he saw it coming. And it was all set up due to Lazard contributing in all facets of the game. Big Bob Tonyan, who just wrote a nice article for the Players Tribune just a few days before the game that I recommend everyone listening go read. It's an amazing read. He had 4 catches for 60 yards, including a huge 33-yard completion at the end of the first half that advanced the Packers into field goal range, and they were able to get points on the board to end the half after getting the ball back with just 28 seconds left and 2 timeouts. Tonyan had that huge play and 60 yards. Another solid performance by Bob Tonyan, continuing to make a name for himself not only in Packerland, but due to how good the Packers are in the mainstream sports media. And he really is playing spirited. He's playing pumped up, energized, and I could not be happier for him. I could not be happier for the Packers that he is contributing so consistently in this way. And it's just really nice to see. And Marquez Valdes-Scantling finished the game, 4 receptions, 33 yards. And although those numbers don't blow anyone away, that's not the nicest stat line for a game, he had strong, sure-handed catches, and he ran with tenacity after he caught the ball. And because he caught the ball strong with his palms, and he ran so tough after making the catch, he made a huge play late in the game. He was able to fight for some extra yards on a bubble screen, 3rd and 3, and convert the first down, extending the drive, ultimately leading to Allen Lazard's touchdown. Each and every one of the Green Bay Packers' secondary options who received nothing but disrespect, ridicule, and hate from the sports media world this offseason rose to the occasion on Saturday against the Los Angeles Rams during the most crucial moments of the game. And it was beautiful to see. They completely rewrote the narrative. Headline on ESPN this morning: Packers receivers rewrite the narrative. And although the job's not finished, and they have 2 more games to continue to rewrite this narrative, things are looking up, and they came ready to play. And might I add, Marquez Valdez-Scantling was wearing a pair of the nicest cleats I've ever laid my eyes on. They seemed to have like a carpet textured Nike check on them, yellow with a green check. They were cool. And I would be ticked at myself if I did not mention Equiminius St. Brown making a nice grab. Although it was a free play and Aaron caught the Rams with 12 men on the field, even Equiminius St. Brown made a play in the game on Saturday against the Rams. And there were plays that the Packers needed to have. Devontae had a great game, yeah, but again, against that secondary, it's going to take a lot more than just Devontae. That was the storyline. That was the narrative. And the Packers receivers came to play. The Packers have the most explosive offense in the NFL. They completely ran through the best defense in the NFL. It's plain and simple. Aaron Rodgers is playing perhaps the best football of his career. The team is playing with unity. The players have completely bought into Matt LaFleur's system. And the Packers have proven to the world that they do, in fact, have enough weapons needed to get over the hump and to achieve the ultimate goal, which is obviously bringing the Lombardi Trophy back to Titletown. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be chopping up the Packers' defense, the defense that has been heating up as of late, and put on yet another strong performance this Saturday against the Rams. But who is responsible for the tremendous defensive turnaround that the Packers have seen late into this year going into the playoffs? Find out after the break. This is the Weekly Cheese, 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. We'll be right back.
Let's go. We playing Dom Capers defense, Edgar Bennett offense. Run the table when they think we lost it. Aaron jumped the defense offset. We pulling upsets, we up next. Super Bowl city, we the suspect. Secure the trophy, bring Vince home. He should have been home. We end zone bound. They count us out, we scoring 10 touchdowns. Green and yellow on my jersey, ain't no mercy to get. It's controversy through this journey, but we in it to win. This a new season, new hope, new reason, new wide receivers, new bandwagon cheerleaders, but we don't need them. We over eager, meet the opposing team at the 50. We flipping quarters for size, but whatever side that they give us, they know. Winning Wisco, it's a go pack go. We send your team back home, dreams and them schemes back home. Back home, we want our trophy back, we need the rings back. We need that Vincent back, we missing that. We brought the king back. Mr. Rogers, ain't no kid in play. No delay of game, he ran the table, he gon' make a way. Somebody get his cake, give him space, let him call a play. He audible and fake, that's why he great. Never play it safe, he all in for the game. And then it's Clay with the defense, Mason with the kicks, he never misrepresents. He's so convenient, believe in the process, it ain't no mercy to get. It's controversy through this journey, but we in it to win. Playing Dom Capers defense, Edgar Bennett offense. Run the table when they think we lost it. Aaron jumped the defense offset. We pulling upsets, we up next. Super Bowl city, we the suspect. Secure the trophy, bring Vince home. He should have been home. We end zone bound. They count us out, we scoring 10 touchdowns. Green and yellow on my jersey, ain't no mercy to get. It's controversy through this journey, but we in it to win. This a pack of country where your green card poppy. Ain't no options, gotta watch them. Fake fans been flocking, they phony. Root for the home team. Cheeseheads only, home of the trophy. Hopefully we bring that trophy home safely. Ha play the safety, playmaking, he make a difference. Offense go the distance, precision. We got a vision, we signed Martellus Bennett, wise decision. We here, still beginning, time to get it, time to win it this year. No fear and no regrets, too many vets on the roster. Fact, the best is yet to come, we overcame all the obstacles. Anything's possible, be mindful of that. With Randall Cobb and Jordan Nelson at the Y, we a threat. Put that pressure on them, lethal weapons on them, special teams on them, DBs on them, that defense. Believe in the process, it ain't no mercy to get. It's controversy through this journey, but we in it to win. Playing Dom Capers defense, Edgar Bennett offense. Run the table when they think we lost it. Aaron jumped the defense offset. We pulling upsets, we up next. Super Bowl city, we the suspect. Secure the trophy, bring Vince home. He should have been home. We end zone bound. They count us out, we scoring 10 touchdowns. Green and yellow on my jersey, ain't no mercy to get. It's controversy through this journey, but we in it to win. Secure the trophy. Secure the trophy.
Rodgers, rock and roll. Rock on through that Super Bowl. Ramble, scramble, toss them T's, drive their defense to its knees. My Green Bay Pack's heart and soul. Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. Who's that QB with that 1-2 punch? Eats DBs with cheese for lunch. Red zone time, them guys be flying. Big butt men be doing some prying. TD from my GB's QB. Let's go. Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. Rock on through that Super Bowl. Ramble, scramble, toss them T's, drive their defense to its knees. My Green Bay Pack's heart and soul. Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. Let's rock. Oh, you got it, baby. What's that? Do I love my Green Bay Packers? Oh, baby, you know better than to ask that. But don't feel sad. I'm fond of you too, honey. Who's that QB with that Midas touch? A-Rod here, cool in the clutch. Live this world of green and gold. All you football freaks, behold. Be a Pack fan or eat crow with cheddar. Face the facts, our QB's better. Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. Rock on through that Super Bowl. Ramble, scramble, toss them T's, drive their defense to its knees. My Green Bay Pack's heart and soul. Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. My Green Bay Pack's heart and soul. Aaron Rodgers, rock and roll. My Green Bay Pack's heart and soul. Go, Pack, go!
And we're back. It's the Weekly Cheese, 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And those songs you just listened to there were Secure the Trophy by Wisco Kyrie of the Wisco Kids and Aaron Rodgers Rock and Roll by the great Eddie J. Lemberger, the king of Packers music. But yeah, let's get into this Packers defense on Sunday against the Los Angeles Rams. And this Packers defense really all season has been slowly and consistently improving. And since Week 10, the Packers defense has clearly seen a major turnaround in all aspects, and it could all be attributed to the stellar play and overall rise of none other than Rashawn Gary. First round, 12th overall pick in the first round of the 2019 draft, Rashawn Gary had a rough rookie season. He didn't have a standout rookie year by any stretch of the imagination. He showed glimpses and flashes here and there, and he struggled with injuries. Came into this season, he was healthy, got banged up early, but since that Week 10 game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Rashawn Gary has flipped the switch. Something has clicked in his head, and he has realized that he is stronger and faster than most of the offensive linemen that he's getting matched up with. And on Sunday, Rashawn Gary had the best game of his young career. He's officially put every offensive coordinator in the league on notice, and he did so by completely dominating the Rams' offensive line. He finished the game with a sack and a half. He had a team-high 3 quarterback hits. But even when he wasn't getting his hands on Jared Goff and finishing the plays and getting credit for the play with a tackle or a sack or something like that, Rashawn Gary was a force to be reckoned with. He was collapsing the pocket. He was forcing Goff to get rid of the ball quick. He never allowed Goff to really get a clean look downfield. At one point, he completely manhandled Andrew Whitworth. He basically just bull rushed through Andrew Whitworth, backing him up, basically almost sacking Jared Goff with Andrew Whitworth's derriere. And Whitworth is a hardened veteran. He's a stud offensive lineman. He's a smart player. And yeah, he's getting up there in age, but he is a hardened offensive lineman. And Rashawn Gary seemed to have absolutely no problem with him. And when Rashawn Gary plays the way that he played on Saturday and the way he has been playing in the tail half of the season, life for the entire Packers defensive line becomes so much easier, and they really do turn into one of the elite pass rushes in the entire NFL. On Saturday, the Packers were able to sack Jared Goff 4 times. They hit him a total of 7 times. Kenny Clark had an amazing day. He had a sack and a half of his own, and he applied constant pressure on Goff from the interior. Him and Rashawn Gary combined were just blowing up the line of scrimmage almost immediately. Jared Goff was never comfortable back there. He was forced to throw these little drop-off passes. It rushed. Some of them looked really bad coming out of his hand. Yeah, his hand was hurt, but the Packers pass rush did what they needed to do. Zadarius Smith was able to come in, get a sack of his own. He obviously wreaks havoc everywhere he is on the defensive line. And even Preston got involved. He was able to have a nice pass deflection of his own, batted one down on the line of scrimmage. He didn't make a name for himself in the box score with a sack or anything like that, but Preston Smith had a decent game. Goff finished the day with less than 200 yards passing. He averaged just 6 yards per completion. And thanks to the stellar pass rush and the solid coverage in the secondary, the Packers really didn't get beat once all game for a big play. Nothing deep. There was a couple long drives where Goff was able to methodically move down the field with these short 6-yard completions. But really, there was no back-breaking plays that went down on the offensive side of the ball for the Rams. Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage had solid days, despite not making any flashy plays in the secondary. They gave up no big completions deep. Nothing was getting behind them. And Jair Alexander completely shut down his side of the field like always. In fact, he had a better game than Jalen Ramsey. I'm sure he felt a little slighted and snubbed from the first-team All-Pro selection that they ultimately did give to Jalen Ramsey. And he had a phenomenal game. Blew up. There was only one completion made against Jair Alexander, which was a screen pass, and he blew it up for a loss of 3 yards. And the Packers secondary is playing solid. They haven't really been giving up any plays deep all season long. There's only been a handful. And their issues that they have been experiencing with the tackling and not taking guys down and allowing a lot of yards after catch seems to be getting better. Kevin King and Chandon Sullivan were sort of picked on Saturday when they were in that soft zone, but they were able to tackle well, and they limited the yards after catch for Robert Woods, who is a premier yards after catch receiver in the NFL. Both of them finished the game with 8 tackles, and I really can only remember one missed tackle off the top of my head by Kevin King. He came flying in like a torpedo. That guy's a maniac. The run defense on Saturday was not perfect, of course, but it was decent, and it really did get the job done. The Packers limited Cam Akers to under 100 yards on the ground, which is saying something. He was coming off a 125-yard rushing game, and he's been dominating defenses over the final stretch of the season. He was averaging over 100 yards a game over the last 4. And so the Packers did their job. They held him under the 100-yard mark. They did a nice job swarming the ball, making sure that he wasn't able to break off any runs. His longest run of the day was 13 yards. And most of his yardage came when running outside and away from Kenny Clark and the interior of the defense, which, if you ask me, is a small win for this Packers defense, who's notoriously just been getting slashed up the middle. The Packers held the Rams to under 20 points, which is the 4th game in a row the Green Bay Packers have held their opponent to under 20 points. And they've picked up a ton of momentum going into this NFC Championship game. They've been able to get off the field early recently. They've limited the amount of big plays they've given up. And they've constantly held teams to field goals when they get backed up in the red zone, which is huge for this. It's perfect complementary football. Teams aren't going to be able to go touchdown for touchdown with this Packers high-octane offense. And if the defense is limiting them to field goals 4 out of 7 times once they're getting into the red zone, 3 out of 7 times even, the Packers are in good shape. The 3 things that they need to do to continue to do next week and in the Super Bowl once they get there, they've been doing constantly for now 4 straight games. And seems like a positive trend in my opinion. And this Green Bay Packers defense is going to have their work cut out for them next week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to need to bring the same energy, intensity, and unity on the defensive side of the ball that we've seen over the last month of football. And hopefully it's going to be real cold and snowy there, which will just aid them even more. We saw what it did to Derrick Henry in that rushing attack, and hopefully the elements could play a similar role in limiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers rushing attack, which got going again on Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. We're going to take one more quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking about this weekend's matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC Championship game. What are the Packers' keys to victory? Stay tuned and find out when we come back. It's the Weekly Cheese, 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Don't go anywhere.
Tundra, love floor, Green Bay's gonna love ya. Well, A-Rod is so mellow, now that Big Mike is gone. Well, maybe he's on them CBDs, or maybe it's the bond that he has with his flower that he holds so dear. It makes you wonder, hey, Mr. Rogers, do you water that guy with beer? La Fleur, flower of the frozen tundra. La Fleur, Green Bay's gonna love ya. Way, Lombardy, his avenue. Yeah, you know, I think LaFleur should have a garden. Yeah. Planted by me and you. How about just you? I could kill rhubarb. Yeah, he'll go down in history like the first Lambeau leap. He don't need no fertilizer. He's aerated by Jones's cleats. La Fleur, flower of the frozen tundra. La Fleur, Green Bay's gonna love ya. With the leg of steel, and Kenny Clark's happy halfback meal. Boom. Devontae, Big Dean Lowry, and that punter, J.K. Scott. But without the flower of the frozen tundra, they'd all just go to pot. La Fleur, flower of the frozen tundra. La Fleur, Green Bay's gonna love ya. La Fleur, flower of the frozen tundra. La Fleur, Green Bay's gonna love ya. Yeah, so I'm not French, so I don't honestly know if it's LaFleur or LaFleur or LaFleur or something like that, you know. And by the way, I just learned that before. It's a French word. It means flower, you know. So now this whole song makes a lot more sense. I'm telling you that right now. I mean, if you didn't know that, I suggest re-listening to the song again. It'll make a heck of a lot more sense. Second time around, for sure. And there's no shame in not knowing. I mean, heck, the only French word I knew before LaFleur was the Bears, you know, and And you don't need to bleep out the there, because it only counts as a swear if it ain't followed by the Bears. Father Tom told me that. And so, actually, you know what? You might want to bleep it out. There's a chance my mom will listen to this, and, you know, her wood spoon still works. And so...
And we're back. It's the Weekly Cheese 90.3. And let's get into this NFC Championship game matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, by the way, that song you just listened to, LaFleur by Barons and Gruel. Just in case you wanted to listen to it on your own time, LaFleur by Barons and Gruel. But yeah, this NFC Championship game, Green Bay Packers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Sunday at 3:05 Eastern Time at Lambeau Field on the frozen tundra. It is the fifth NFC Championship game for the Green Bay Packers in the Rodgers era, and it is the first one being held at Lambeau Field. The forecast for Sunday in Green Bay is low 20s and snow. Hopefully with the wind chill, it's about 15 out there. And hopefully Green Bay Packers have that frozen tundra advantage, and Aaron Rodgers is wearing that turtleneck long john. Nothing good happens for an opposing defense when Aaron Rodgers got on that turtleneck long john. The Packers were badly beaten by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 6. They lost 38-10. It was flat out the Packers' worst game of the season. And obviously, revenge will be on their mind. How can it not be? They have to have a sour taste in their mouth after the game that they had against Tampa Bay in Week 6. But just because they got blown out in Week 6, that has no bearing on how this game is going to unfold. The Bucs were absolutely dominated by the Saints earlier in the year. They lost 38-3, and on Sunday they were able to beat the Saints in the playoffs. It's a totally different game. Both teams are dramatically different and are playing different and have different schematics, and everything is different than it was in Week 6. Week 6 was practically an eternity ago. But the Green Bay Packers obviously will have revenge on their mind coming in to Sunday's game. And the battle begins up front. In Week 6, between the two teams, the Packers gave up 4 sacks and 13 quarterback hits against the Buccaneers defense. The lack of protection in the pass game was the biggest factor in the Packers' loss, and it cannot happen again on Sunday. The Packers' offensive line needs to come with the same tenacity that they did this past weekend against the Rams, and the same tenacity that they brought nearly every single game this season. And they need to protect Aaron Rodgers for all 4 quarters. Obviously, Bakhtiari is hurt. Everyone knows that. And Billy Turner is going to have to come ready to go. He has by far his biggest challenge on the left side of the line since taking over for David Bakhtiari. The biggest threat of the pass rush for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers comes from the edges. Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett are very strong edge rushers. Jason Pierre-Paul has had a reawakening season for himself with just his 3 fingers on his one hand. He's going to be coming. And it's up to Billy Turner and Rick Wagner to do their jobs as the tackles to keep Aaron off the ground. And on the interior of the line, Lucas Patrick, Elton Jenkins, and Corey Linsley are going to have their hands full with Ndamukong Suh. We know what Ndamukong Suh likes to do to Green Bay Packers. He likes to step on them and stomp on their legs. He always brings the heat when he is going up against the Green Bay Packers, and I expect nothing less in the NFC Championship game. And the Packers need to bring the same pass protection that they've brought week in and week out, and the same pass protection that they brought against the number 1 defense in the NFL just last week. The Packers also need to focus on establishing the run and avoiding 3rd and longs. In Week 6, the Packers could not get the run game going. The Buccaneers' defense was firing on all cylinders, especially after the inopportune turnovers. And the Packers failed to get the run game going, and they were looking at a 3rd and long almost every single drive. The offense could never get going. Even on the first drive of the game in Week 6, when they scored, it was an ugly drive. It was just a painful drive. It was long and grueling, and the Packers barely got into the end zone. If the pass game In the pass game, the Green Bay Packers need to continue to rely on their secondary weapons who have had difficulty getting open in the first matchup. Devontae was just coming back from his injury. He didn't have an amazing performance last game. But the secondary weapons are going to need to get open regardless, even though I do believe Devontae is going to have himself a phenomenal game. Last game against the Buccaneers, he only had 33 receiving yards. Carlton Davis obviously came away from that game in Week 6 feeling himself. But trust me when I say Davante Adams is going to take it upon himself to show Carlton Davis that that game was just a fluke. He was returning from injury. He hasn't been playing for 3 weeks. And Carlton Davis caught him on his first week back. But look for that stat sheet to be filled by Davante Adams on Sunday. He's going to go off. I could feel it in my body. But with that being said, the secondary receivers need to have the same game that they had against the Rams. They need to make plays. The Buccaneers have a good defense. And when they start playing hard and when that defense is clicking, they are scary. And it's up to the whole receiving core, not just Davante Adams, to bring it and make plays when it's their time to make a play. And finally, the Green Bay Packers, on the offensive side of the ball, they need to take care of it. They cannot turn the ball over. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback of all time, especially when it comes to taking care of the football. In Week 6, he threw 2 interceptions on back-to-back drives against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which really put the kibosh on the whole game. That was the first time since 2017 that he threw 2 interceptions in one game. One of them was returned for a touchdown. And I can assure everyone listening right now that that will not happen again. And Aaron Rodgers is going to have an all-time great performance en route to beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and outscoring them on Sunday. And on the defensive side of the ball, it's pretty straightforward. First and foremost, the Green Bay Packers need to stop the run. The Buccaneers rely on the 2-headed running attack that is Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. And last week against the Saints, those two combined for 30 carries, 130 yards. If the Buccaneers could get that run game going, everything opens up for Tom Brady in the pass game. And stopping the run is imperative in getting that extremely loaded offense off the field and controlling the time of possession. The defensive line needs to come out with energy. They need to fill the gaps. And look to see the Packers stack that box way more often than they did on Sunday. On Saturday. On Saturday against the Los Angeles Rams, the Packers were in a lot of nickel package. They only were loading 3 guys on the defensive line. They had 3-man front. And it really was because the Rams were playing that 11 package, that 11-man package with the running back, tight end, 3 wide receivers. And there was no need to get a stacked offensive line and stack the box. But against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're going to need to. So look for some more snaps, hopefully, with Snacks Harrison lined up right next to Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry, and just look for that Packers defense to stack that box, bring Amos in there, and really look to neutralize that running attack right from the get-go. And in complement to that, the pass rush needs to get at Tom Brady way more than they did in Week 6. They only sacked him 1 time in their first meeting, and Tom Brady was just given simply way too much time in the pocket. It's extremely important for the Green Bay Packers to generate pressure from the interior of the offensive line. It's a historic recipe for success against Tom Brady to get pressure from the interior and force him to evade outside the pocket. So look for Zadarius Smith to be lined up as an end more. Look for him on the interior of the line. And that'll allow the 3-headed monster of Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, and Rashawn Gary to go to work with Kenny Clark. With Zadarius Smith and Kenny Clark lined up right next to one another on the interior of the line, they're going to be able to generate some pressure. We saw it this past week against the Rams. Not to mention, if Rashawn Gary comes to play like he has been, and he's rushing the passer like the badass he has been lately, the Packers will be able to get some pressure and force Tom Brady out of that pocket and just make him uncomfortable, which is something they did not do in that first matchup. And we all know, it doesn't take a football aficionado to tell you that Tom Brady's a good quarterback, and if he has time in that pocket, he's going to make the correct play. So a pass rush needs to be there. Ultimately, I believe that if the Green Bay Packers defense continues to play the way it has over the last 4 games, the Packers will come out on top with a commanding victory in the NFC Championship game. Stopping the run, forcing punts early, you couple that with the elite pass rush that we've seen from the front 7 over the past 5 weeks. The Packers defense has been able to build a true confidence in themselves. And that confidence can be felt through the TV screen. When I'm watching this Green Bay Packers defense, I could feel the energy and confidence that is radiating off of them through the television. This Green Bay Packers team has been dragged through the mud since getting embarrassed last year in the NFC Championship game. They had a horrible showing last year in this game, and since then, through the draft, through the offseason, and through the preseason, they were disrespected. They were talked down upon. They were projected to go 8-8, and they were truly dragged through the mud. No one believed in this Green Bay Packers team except for them, the Green Bay Packers, and us, their loyal fan base. And on Sunday, the Green Bay Packers have a chance to finally change the entire narrative once and for all surrounding the organization, surrounding the way Aaron Rodgers has been treated. Although it does come across as not the best sometimes, he's happy. You can see it on his face. He is the leader of this Green Bay Packers team. He is playing at an all-time high level. Everyone is thriving right now. And it's an opportunity on Sunday for the Green Bay Packers to rewrite the entire narrative. They're playing hard. They're playing smart. And most importantly, the Green Bay Packers right now are playing together. They have a true wave of momentum going into this NFC Championship game. And this NFC Championship game feels completely different to me than all of the ones in the past, maybe with the exception of 14 and 10. It feels different than 16. It feels different than last year. This Green Bay Packers team is truly special. And on Sunday, the entire world will be given a truly special performance by Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Packers win 34-23. That's my prediction, 34-23, solidifying themselves with a spot in the Super Bowl and just making themselves one step closer to finally hoisting that Lombardi trophy once again. It's been a long 10 years. But on Sunday at 3:05, the Green Bay Packers will take the field and take care of business and move on to the Super Bowl for the first time in a decade. Thank you all for listening. This has been The Weekly Cheese, the Pocono's #1 place for everything Green Bay Packer, right here on 90.3 WESS. My name is Joe Ivan. NFC Championship game, guys. I'm getting anxious right now just thinking about it. I will talk to you all next week as we are all champions of the NFC. We'll rejoice. We will talk about the amazing game that we're about to watch on Sunday. And we will look ahead to the Super Bowl. Have a good night, everyone. Stay safe. And as always, the cheese stands alone. Talk to you next week, everyone. Go, Pack, go.
I like my wife, she's okay. And for my kids, I'm thankful almost every day. I like my family, it's so dear to me. But I love